Girl looks away from the internet for one weekend and suddenly 4 secret lairs crop up? Come on, wizards, give a girl a break here. Good evening, darlings and deviants. My name is Lucy and I'm just a little loony. I've been covering the secret lairs that are coming up in the 2024 Spring Superdrop, and just when I thought these were going to slow down, they dropped 4 of them on my head like... yeah, like that. Without further ado, let's start the show. Starting off, we have the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Showcase. This is a pretty standard secret lair that we've been getting since Theros Beyond Death, and there's a good reason for it. Being able to see a set's card frame outside of the main set lets us get a look into what different characters may look like in that particular booster fund treatment. Luckily, they went with the Wanted poster frame and not the Prosperity post frame. While I think the reprints that were on that particular bonus sheet were pretty good, the design is just not my thing. It's confusing, hard to tell the colors the card is at a glance, and it's just kinda meh. As such, we got the much cooler alternate frame. The cards that are wanted in this secret lair are Kalitas, Trader of Get, Magda, Brazen Outlaw, Greasefang, Okiba Boss, Dak Faden? Oh, and look, we know the secret card this time around. It's Norin the Wary. These choices are pretty okay in my opinion. Magda has some crazy potential decks, Greasefang is an all-star tier 2 deck and Pioneer, and Dak Faden is... well, he was the greatest thief in the multiverse. Rest in peace, King. Kalitas has fallen a little bit out of favor in constructed formats, but he's still very solid, and Norin has plenty of shenanigans he can get up to. Now, let's take a look at both the normal and foil printings to see how much each of them are worth. Holy cow! No, not you. I do love you though. That's some great value. While the non-foil one barely breaks even with a $30 secret lair, the foil price is amazing, especially with that Dak Faden and with that Norin the Wary, both of them being pretty solid foil pickups. All in all, if you're gonna pick this one up, it's probably best to go for the shiny cardboard here. This one looks pretty standard, but I love seeing a Dak Faden reprint, and the cards included all have pretty solid applications all across Magic. Very solid secret lair. Next up is Poker Faces. This lair is clearly drawing from... well, poker cards. So I'll get this one out of the way. I'm not a huge fan of secret lairs that don't have reminder text on the card, the ones that are kind of trying to be more artsy and fartsy. Magic cards have a lot of text on them typically, and making someone look it up every time is a bit annoying. To show you what I mean, I'm going to show the normal versions of these cards along with the secret lair versions. The cards included are Jaxus the Troublemaker, Coffin Queen, Goblin King, Professional Facebreaker, and Rankle Lord of Pranks. These all have a ton of text that's in play all the time, and it's a little strange. Worse still, these don't really all go into one deck. For example, if you'll recall what I said about the Hatsune Miku or the Bad Joke secret lairs, they at least had cards that were playable in the legendary creature that was available in there. For example, the 2 legendary creatures that we have, Jaxus and Rankle, don't really go into any similar decks. And not only are they all separate, but all the cards are kind of in different archetypes. The closest we have that match well together is Jaxus and Facebreaker working well together, but that's like saying bread goes well with peanut butter. Red decks love a Facebreaker every now and then. Goblin King doesn't really go into a Jaxus deck, it's more of like a Goblin-only card, and Coffin Queen is an odd inclusion, period. But this card's weird and probably wouldn't see a reprint for a hot minute, so I'm not really complaining, but it is a weird sort of an inclusion. Now, I think the cards here are more of an allusion to poker cards, like, you know, the poker face cards. Like, Jaxus is the Jack, I guess. The King and Queen are here. Rankle, I guess, since he's a Lord of Pranks, can be the Joker. And Facebreaker has Ace in its name, so you could technically see it as an ace. I know I'm stretching here, but if that was the plan, we could have picked much better cards to play to that theme. That being said, let's take a look into the values of the regular and foil printings and see if we've got a royal flush. Eesh, it looks like this river turned into a flop pretty quickly. Jaxus and Rankle aren't really highly playable cards, playing niche roles in their respective decks, while the King and Queen here are insanely valuable, but considering the niche applications to Coffin Queen, I'm not really sure how much that price will stay steady. Overall, I think the art side of this lair is phenomenal, and I like when Secret Lair gets to be a little bit experimental with how Magic cards look, but between the middling picks for cards and the confusion they may likely bring up, I'm not super high on this lair as some of the others, though I might still pick it up for the art alone, honestly. Alright, so this next one's a two-parter, but I'll cover them all at the same time, only really splitting up the pricing at the end since they're both the same theme. This is the Outlaw Anthology Secret Lair, and honestly, I feel bad for the Outlaws Showcase frame lair now because look at these! These are trying to do what that style was meant to evoke, but it's able to go all the way with it. This lair seems to be drawing inspiration from classic outlaw western movie covers and pulp western novel covers to bring some of your favorite cards to the Wild West. For Volume 1, Rebellious Renegades, we have Tezzeret the Seeker, Grizzlebrand, Grinzo, Havoc Razor, and Nicol Bolas Planeswalker. Now, I'll save talking about card choice cohesion for the second volume since these feel like they're supposed to go together, but as it stands, I think this one is solid. 2 cool Planeswalkers is nice, and even though Grizzlebrand is banned in Commander, it still sees the occasional Modern and Legacy play, and it looks phenomenal. Grinzo is an okay pickup for a Goblin Commander, but also for Goad and Thievery decks looking to muck up your opponent's shenanigans. As for the prices, well... Okay, not bad for a 4-card Secret Lair. Tezzeret is doing a lot of work propping up that price, but the foil and non-foil Bolas and Gris aren't too shabby either. A solid lair, but what about Part 2, Sinister Scoundrels? Same thing with Part 2 in terms of design. This one, however, has Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, Corona, the False God, Corvald, Fake-Cursed King, and Memnarch. Holy moly, these are some big names. Corona is one of the first 5-color legends ever, Corvald and Memnarch are fan-favorite commanders, and Vorinclex 1.0 is just kind of super mean. Between the 2 layers, there's a bit of a lack of cohesion, but it seems like more of an excuse to give fancy treatments to a wide swath of commanders and legendaries, rather than them all being playable in the same deck. And honestly, I think that's probably the other side of what you want in there. You either want all of the cards to go together, or you want the cards to stand alone and be like a cool treatment for your favorite commander. One thing I like about this layer is that the text box is still present, making the effect text very easy to read. Sometimes it's easy for secret layers to get lost in the sauce, as it were, and have some unreadable text in their boxes. Since these are all cards that will mostly stick around, it's good that they have readable text. Finally, let's drum up the value numbers on this last set of Outlaws. Well, this one's a bit awkward. Corona's kind of carrying the weight of both sides here, propping up the foil side of the layer and weighing down the total of the non-foil side. And Corvald's a bit messy, seeing as how his original printing was in a Brawl pre-constructed deck. The non-historic kind of Brawl, if you Zoomers out there can believe that, and that version was foil, with the non-foil one being openable in the then new collector's boosters in, the original Throne of Eldraine. So if you're looking to pick this one up, probably best to get the shiny cardboard one instead. The prices are a little weird, but all of the shiny ones are worth some money, so probably best to pick up that one. Whew! That should be all of them. Tell me what... Oh, that's a call on my totally not a cell phone. I gotta take this. Hello? Another one? Oh, well, alright. So, as it turns out, while I was writing this script, they released another secret lair. This should be the last one, but honestly, who knows at this point. This secret lair is GoblinGram. I would have personally called it InstaGob, but hey, no one's perfect. The cards included are Brash Taunter, Goblin Chieftain, Goblin Ringleader, Goblin Welder, and Mog War Marshal. It might be a bit hard to tell because this frame is very abstract, but I'll be real, I kinda love it. I love that Thrun, the last troll, is trolling all of them. Seriously, if he isn't the secret card, I'll be extremely salty. It's just too perfect of a pickup. And I love how they're all in the same circles and commenting on each other's posts. Do these look like magic cards? No, and all of them being creatures is a little rough on the playability perspective, but I think I'll hold off on judging them too harshly until I get to see them in paper. It may just be a case of it looking bad on the computer. Now let's add up those foil and non-foil prices. Oof, it looks like the gobos got ratioed. Well, kinda. Obviously, the money card is Goblin Welder, who hasn't been reprinted that many times. The most recent printing was in the Goblins vs. Elves duel deck. Then it was in Commander 2014. So neither of those were really booster packs, so they weren't really reprinted, as it were. The last time it was printed in a booster pack was in Urza's Legacy, which is when it first came out. So that's why there's an asterisk next to the foil price. Most copies of Welder go for around 16 to 20 bucks, with the dual deck foil printing being around that same price. However, the Legacy foil from Urza's Legacy is almost $200! So it's a bit of a price discrepancy there, but overall the value isn't really there, I guess. Only get this layer if you think it's funny. Otherwise, I'd just say skip out. And that should be it. Wait, hold on. Okay, no incoming messages. We should be good. That's every secret lair coming out tomorrow, I think, if my timing is correct and I get this video out on time. I'm sorry I couldn't be just a little bit faster, but Wizards kept announcing lairs faster than I could make the videos. I wasn't distracted by anything else. Nope, not at all. Just don't look at my Final Fantasy XIV glamour dresser, please. Anyway, now that we've seen all of the lairs, what do you think about them? Are there any ones that you're super excited about and can't wait to try out in your decks? Or do you think you're maybe going to skip out on this one? Let me know which and why down in the comments below. As always, thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, au revoir!